Welcome back, high performers, to week 2, session 2 on high performance psychology. I know that first session was a lot. I'm gonna hit you with even more because all I want you to do is get in your head about who you are, how you behave, how you think, how you interact with the world, and that is the world of psychology. Now we're gonna jump into what I've learned about what I call a high performance identity. This is the 8 traits, if you will, the 8 perceptions of high performers that I've learned from my highest level of clients. I've always asked, what's different about their mindset and their perception of self that's different than other people? You know, 'cause sometimes, look, we can all have the same skills, we could have the same backgrounds, we could be in the same community, and yet someone rises up and I'm like, what is it that they have? What's the magic mojo that they seem to have? How do they think of themselves differently? And how does that allow them to get ahead? That's been a huge part of my study, high performance identity. How do they perceive themselves? And does that perception allow them to get ahead? The answer is an absolute yes. So these 8 sources of identity or feelings or perceptions of identity, I think you'll find incredibly valuable. And the goal is, maybe you don't have them yet. Could you develop them by habit, by journaling, by reflection? And I've learned the answer there is also an absolute yes. So before I do that, here's what I love to do for your own psychology. Just a quick, simple trigger and tip. And if you've ever studied with me in high performance, you've heard this before. What I want you to do is make sure that you know what your identity should be for you. And as a very simple activity, I would love for you to write down what are the 3 primary words that I would love to describe who I am. You know, if you think about the end of your life and, you know, there was your tombstone and there were 3 words that described who you were, what would those words be? And why are those words the important ones for you? And next, how can you remind yourself of those words? So here's what I've done. I've shown Arianna Huffington this. I've shown dozens and dozens and dozens of our clients. This is my favorite little trick. I tell them, put those 3 words in your phone as an alarm. So grab your phone, open it up now, pull up the alarm section, and you'll see you can label your alarms. So when the alarm goes off on your phone, you can make words pop up with the alarm. And what I've had people do is set 2 to 3 to 4 times a day, have the alarm go off with the words. And what it starts to do is it starts to condition those words, that identity, into your brain. Because you'll be standing in line somewhere and all of a sudden your phone goes off, and it never gets old, trust me. It never gets old because your phone buzzes or rings and you're like, what is this? And there's the 3 words to remind you who to be, and you're like, oh right. It says be engaged, but I'm distracted. It says be loving, but I'm being a jerk. It gives you the intention cue that is so important for high performance. We need intention cues. We need to develop those. The same way that we would take an athlete and teach them to bounce the ball in a specific way and think something. Well, we need that in our daily life to remind us how to be something, you know? So before I even get into what I found in my research, I want you just to decide, what would that be? And that might mean you sit down with a piece of paper and you journal. Down below, when you download the worksheet for this session, you can also print it out, brainstorm a bunch of ideas. What's the best of me like? What could that be like? And come up with at least 3 words to define that. Put them in your phone to go off 2 to 3 times a day. And I promise you, when it goes off, if you will look at it with real intention and connection to those words, that's why I ask, why do you choose those words? If it's real for you, you see those and go, even just a second of mindfulness can change the direction of your life. Just go, oh, right, that's who I want to be. Because, we all get caught up. There's a lot going on in the world. Sometimes you got the kids and the family and the business and the career and the work and the hopes and the dreams, the hobbies, the media, and all of a sudden you feel overwhelmed. And one day you wake up, a couple years in and you go, I just don't feel like myself anymore. Or you say, I don't know myself anymore. That didn't happen by accident. It was the lack of intention cues of who you wanted to be running in your mind so that you could develop into that person. It's that old thing. It's really hard to hit the target if we don't know what the target is. It's hard. So you've got to have that target. 3 identity words that describe the best of you. Now, I don't know if these words are the same because those three words describe you. These are their perception of self that I think will help open up a new way that you might think about yourself and also identify areas that have been holding you back. Because when you talk about psychology, you got to be honest. Some things really support you and some things make you get stuck or stagnant. And the lack of any of these 8 senses of self hold you back. The more of them you have, the more you tend to advance. The first one is super simple. High performers have an open sense of who they are. They're open. They're open to learning. They're open to feedback. They're open to new challenges. They're open to the world. You know, they don't have this very fixed, rigid, strict mindset. While they might have identified the best of who they are, they also know that they're always learning about themselves. There's a curiosity to life and to other people and to the world about them. They're truly open to learning, and that openness is everything. Matter of fact, in almost every staple, basic, psychology 101 assessment, openness is always one of the most and important primary identity traits for people. Psychologically, if we lack openness, it's hard to learn, change, grow, adapt to the challenges of the world. And I know you know that, but here's a question. How open to new ideas have you been in your marriage, your relationship, your spouse? Are you open to their feelings? Are you open to their needs? Are you open to their reality? Or do you fight it strictly and say, no, my reality is my reality, you're wrong, because that doesn't support a relationship, trust me, right? Think about your work. How open are you to maybe that there's other things that you could be doing that would be more effective? How open to you are to the customer's comments coming in? How open to you are the fact that you've got competitors eating your lunch and you better change? That openness dictates the future of that business. Think about the openness that you also have in your own personal hobbies. Are you open to trying new things? Think about the greatest artists in the world, in history. They were constantly trying new forms of art. They were constantly experimenting and tuning new things, no matter what they did. If they were a photographer, they were open to trying 5 or 6 different new cameras. If they were a painter, they tried different plays with different lights. They tried different mediums to find their thing. And even when they got it, they kept changing it. It doesn't matter if you're talking about a Da Vinci or Degas, if you're talking about an Einstein and his openness and curiosity to the world, or you're talking about some of the world's greatest leaders. They're open to new ideas and open to experimentation. High performers become high performers because they've been open to new ideas more than most people have. So analyze your life and say, is there any part of my life I just closed down a long time ago? Have I closed down thoughts about how healthy I can be? Because I decided years ago, I'm always going to be 170 pounds. I'm always going to be fat. I'm always going to be this. I'm always going to be tired. I'm always going to be this. When someone's like saying, I'm always, their identity has closed and their growth has been limited. The second major part of their identity that I've learned is they're flat out honest. It's one of the most inspiring things for me personally and something that deeply impresses me about people when they can be honest. They can look at their health and say, I'm fat. They don't have to say, well, I'm big boned and there's no grocery stores that sell green items. They don't make up lies. They're just like, look, I'm honest. I haven't been taking care of myself. I'm not happy with it. I got to change it. They're honest with other people. They're honest in what they ask for with other people. Because their honesty, their truth about how they feel, what they think, what they desire of life, what they need, they're more expressive. The more honest you are, the more expressive you are, right? It's true. Also, the more honest you are, the more you tend to look at things and call a spade a spade. If something's lacking in your life, you face it. If you're not honest, then you kind of end up being insincere or you end up being avoidant. But high performers look at everything. They're like, what's my relationship really like? What's my team really like? What's the state of my progress really like? they stopped telling themselves lies a long time ago. It was a big deal for me, a big change in my life. I was, probably in my early 20s, and I just said, you know what? I gotta stop lying to myself. I keep making these excuses for myself. I keep playing the victim role. I keep, blaming this or blaming that. The honest reality is I'm not getting up and working my ass off each day. The honest reality is I haven't done my homework. The honest reality was I was rude to her. And facing that honesty gives that self-evaluation that allows us to improve. So also evaluate the different parts of your life and ask that simple question. Where am I not being honest? And when I say the different parts of life and you're like, where does he want me to look here? I'm assuming that you have also checked out week number 1, where we talked about all those areas we really want to improve in our life, right? From our health to our mission, to our family and our friends, to our loving relationship, to our hobbies, right? All the things we talked about. Be honest in those areas. Next, about what I've learned about them is they feel a sense of capability. They would say, their identity says, I'm capable. And that changes everything for them. Everything. See, when we feel capable, we tend to feel confident, right? It's that old thing in psychology. We often call it the competent confidence loop. That the more competence we gain, more capability, understanding, we feel like we can do it and understand it and master it, the more we'll try more things. The more we try more things, the more we develop confidence. The more we try more things and get ahead in them, the more we have to learn more things, the more competence we develop. So we call it the confidence-competent loop. And if you feel like a genuinely capable person, think about everything shifts. Everything shifts when you feel capable. For example, horrible things happen. Shit hits the fan. Forgive my language. That's how people talk, right? The stuff hit the fan, Brendan. Then what do? What do they say? Well, people who don't feel capable go into victim mode, or they become paralyzed or fearful. They don't try. But if you feel capable, like, I can handle this. That one element of their psychology, I can handle this, is probably the most important thing to their progress that I've ever evaluated from high performers. They just feel like they can handle it. That doesn't mean that they won't be scared, doesn't mean they might be overwhelmed, doesn't mean there won't be stress or the unknown uncertainty. All the negatives could still be there, but they say, hey, with enough time, energy, effort, focus, discipline, support, I know I can succeed. They feel capable. And even if they don't know what they're going into, they're like, I'll figure it out. And I can't share with you a more important phrase for the next level of success in your life. I literally just coached a Fortune 50 CEO, and her concern was that she didn't feel capable for that next level. So almost 2 years went by with a lot of inactivity in a very important part of that person's business because she didn't feel like she knew it. And I had to say, was there any time in your life that you didn't know what to do, but you just kind of charged in anyway and kind of got your hands dirty and figured it out and messed things up and you were okay with that learning journey? Well, oh yeah, that's how I started. I'm like, well, what's the difference now? And her mindset that was sticking her, the consequences. Her consequences were, if I do it and I fail, what's that mean of me? And so her consequences were all negative. And we had to adjust them to being, were there some positives? We'll talk about fear in a little while and help you understand how she broke through that. But isn't that fascinating? Look at the next part of your dream. Think about the biggest dream you have in your life. Be honest with yourself. If you really think about the last year of your life when you thought about that dream, did you feel capable? Did you say, I can go figure that out, develop the skill, the knowledge, the talent to be successful? If you didn't, if your self-identity in any way said, I'm not capable, you stopped yourself or you limited yourself. We must always be very attentive to have a healthy psychology to where we do or do not feel capable. Game change. Some people say, well, Brendan, I can't change my marriage. I said, oops. That's that lack of capability feeling, and because they don't feel capable, they don't do. So how do you get capability? You learn. You try. You take the step, you read the book, you go to the seminar, you do the interviews, you get the skills, the knowledge, as much information as you can take in, you interpret it like, okay, I understand enough now, let's jump in. Let's both feet in, try and figure this out. Give it a try. That is what is so unbelievably inspiring about high performers to me. The fourth thing that I've learned about their identity is that they feel deserving. Other people might use the word worthy, right? I just use the word deserving. They feel like they deserve, have permission for, and are worthy of success. There's no like, well, I don't deserve love. I don't deserve advancement. I don't deserve this. It's not, let me say, I didn't use the word entitlement. They don't think they just deserve it because whatever reason. They feel like, you know what? I'm a good person. I'm working hard towards this. I deserve to be happy because of my efforts towards being happy. I deserve to have wealth because I'm moving towards trying every day to earn. I deserve to have her love because I'm giving her so much of my heart and soul. And they're not lacking that ability. Because if you don't feel worthy or deserving or like you have permission, what do? Nothing. Nothing. Sometimes the next level for people is allowing themselves the permission or the worthiness or that it's okay. You deserve it now. It's your time. You've been through enough. You've learned enough. You've tried enough. You've been hurt enough. You had enough success and joys. You deserve to feel okay now. You deserve this next level now. You deserve to want more for yourself because you've been given to everybody your whole life and you never took a moment to say, what do I really want? You've given enough. Now it's time to give to yourself. You deserve to take care of yourself now. You've earned it. And I don't know if that resonates with you, but a lot of people just need to hear that, especially today. They feel so guilty, like they're not enough, they're not doing enough, and you know, someday they deserve the success. And it's like, you deserve to feel happy now. You deserve to take care of yourself now. It's not like someday there's a finish line. There is no metaphorical finish line. At some point we have to say, I'm just worthy of a good life. I just am. God has graced me to be here, or the universe, or chance, whatever your belief is. I'm deserving of it now. I've worked hard. I'm giving it. I'm ready to go. Give yourself that gift. The next piece of their identity I learned is, I love this one. They're ready. It's a state of readiness. It's palpable. Some high performers, I'll be honest, that state of readiness is actually, it's like a sense of urgency. Like they're ready. They're like, I've got this goal dream. Here we go. Right? It's almost like ready or not. Some people, it's like they're never ready. Well, someday I'll do this. They're in someday land. High performers aren't in someday land. They're like, I'm ready. Even though they know they're going to be on it. They're open. Because they're open, they are ready. Because they're going to be honest, whether it works or not, they're ready. Because they feel and have decided they're capable, they're ready. Because they're deserving, they're ready. All of this stuff builds on itself to support a positive high-performance psychology. They're like ready. I can't even describe. And I know you feel it because most of you are high performers watching this. You're growing into that space. It is a ready. It's like a willingness. You know, it's like willingness to try, willingness to learn. It's that urgency that says, let's just do it. I mean, it's like so palpable. It's my favorite part of being around high performers, period. They're game. They're just like, I'm in, let's go, let's try it, let's see. Because they know that whatever comes their way, they'll figure it out. They'll be okay. They'll serve others. They'll do their best. They'll be who they truly are. And I tell you, it's ready. It's really, really, really ready. That's the feeling I get from them. They're just like ready. So look at the parts of your life. Is there any part of your life, be honest, where you're just stalling, hedging, waiting, hoping? Like you're really not giving yourself permission to be ready. You're just kind of like, yeah, someday. Because someday is not ready. Ready is now. It's like, okay, been through enough, studied enough, turn the camera on. Been through enough, studied enough, Put the thing out there. Been through enough, studied enough, asked enough questions, asked for what I want. Like whatever it is, like I just worked with somebody, unbelievably talented person, just wanted a promotion. And I said, how long you want a promotion? Oh, like 3 years. I'm like, well, how many times have you asked for it? Well, I've never asked for it. Well, you never asked for it. And we went through, I was like, what do you think about it? You never asked for it. Do you not feel deserving? Oh, no, they felt deserving. They're like, oh, they actually were upset. They really felt like they deserved that money. I said, are you capable? They said, capable. Well, have you been honest with other people? Like, do they know how you feel and what you want? And they're like, sort of. They just never allowed themselves to go into the dang room and say, could we have a conversation about my role and where I'm at and what I'm contributing and where I might be going in this career? They just never got there. They didn't act. And they didn't act because they weren't ready. And here's the thing. Readiness is the most intangible of all of the sort of identity traits, if you will. I don't like the word traits, but we'll use that for now. That perception that they weren't ready. I'm like, you need to decide to be ready for this. Like, just decide. The next stage of your life is not going to suddenly appear for you. You have to grab it and say, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's improve my mind. Let's improve my body. I know you guys, you're here because you are ready to do that. That's why you enrolled in high performance, right? That readiness is giving you this benefit now. So where else can you apply in that life? Where else can you raise your hand and say, let's go, I'm ready? Make that decision and you'll start to see a huge shift. Tell your team, we're ready, let's go. And they're like, we're not ready. You're like, we're ready. They're like, we're not ready, we're ready. No one's ever ready to go into the battle. The battle is begun, let's go. That's the only thing you could do. You must make that decision to be ready in all areas of your life. You're not gonna be ready after school finishes. You're not gonna be ready after the next career. You're not gonna be ready after the next promotion. Be ready now. 6th point, they're persistent. Oh, they're tireless. They are persistent when they know what they want. They're open to learning, but they are going for it. They're persistent and patient in chasing their dream, but they're always on it. I mean, it's just like, it's consistent. Even when they get knocked down, they say, well, let's keep going. You know, they take their learning, they're open and honest about how it went. They develop more capabilities, but they allow themselves to keep going. Look at all areas of your life. Where you've been lacking a little persistence. And remember, I like to say, persistence is revealed on the calendar. If it's not on your calendar, not really scheduled, it's a hope, a desire, a dream. Persistence shows up in work. You know, it's just like, man, I've been going at this for a couple years. People ask me, Brendan, how are you here? You know, I have the great compliment from our industry of I've created more online courses and online content than anybody else in this market space, period, in the last 5 years. I mean, no one's created the number of courses at the depth of courses with the amount of videos, with the amount of training, worksheets, tools, quotes. I mean, all this stuff I've been creating, it's just, I do it every day. It's not like once in a while, it's just like, this is my daily life. And that is really shaping the trajectory of my career. And I feel very blessed to have that, but I also realized I didn't have persistence before. I really didn't. I wasn't like driven in that way, I suppose, until I got really clear about what we talked about in week 1. I wanted to improve all those areas of my life. And because I want to improve all those areas of my life, I thought the only thing that's going to make me improve those areas of life is develop real routines and habits to move towards that. So where have you been lacking persistence? You know, it's like you really got to do about it. In every area of your life, like, okay, I wanted a better loving relationship with somebody. Well, how persistent have you been in really giving them compliments and kindness and appreciation, listening to their perspective, being amazing and extraordinary in that relationship? Some people go, well, I tried with her last week, it didn't work. I'm like, well, how many times did you try last week? Well, one time I said something nice. I'm like, well, okay. I bought her flowers. How many times? Once. Well, okay. That's not persistence. That's called a Hail Mary. Hail Marys don't make good relationships. Hail Marys don't make good careers. What makes careers, relationships, dreams, hobbies, greatness? It's persistence. The seventh thing I've learned about them is they're extraordinary empathetic. This is now, their identity isn't just about self. Their identity is about other people. And they take the time to empathize with other people, to understand them, to care for them, to give to them. That identity that I am a caring, empathetic person who wants to understand and support other people makes them extraordinary. And I would say everyone could have all these things, but without that one, they'll never be a high performer in their social context, their career, their work, their relationships. High performers, they truly do care more. And not just care more about their mission, they care more about people around them. I mean, it's an extraordinary level. I mean, I'm talking about, I've been blessed to sit down with 2 US presidents. For me, it was both Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. And I've spent time with them. And I tell you, they're extraordinary. I mean, whatever you judge them for, politics or not politics, and I am referencing a Democrat and Republican for a specific reason here. It's like whatever you feel about them or have judgment or feel about policies, when you're around them, it's different. They're extraordinarily connected with the people around them. But outside of them, same with world leaders. I've been blessed now to spend 2 or 3 sessions with the Dalai Lama. And I'll tell you, just like life-changing experiences. And his compassion and kindness, which is his religion. I mean, he's Buddhist, but his religion is essentially being kind and putting compassion into the world. Extraordinarily powerful presence. The one thing you feel, he feels you. He feels you. That's empathy. He's in your mind and in your spirit and energy. When he's there, it is full presence. But there's a difference between being present with someone and being present and empathetic. Trying to draw understanding, feeling an emotion, connecting with them like that. Every high performer I've ever met is like that. Arianna Huffington is the same. I'll tell you, when she's with you, it's just like, woof, it's like razor. It's just, you feel this connection, and she wants to know about you. I mean, I remember spending hours and hours at her home, and she was just, the whole time was asking me questions about my life. It was amazing, and I was there to help her. It was just, she's empathetic, she wants to understand people. I'm sharing this with you from a different perspectives of whether it's a media mogul or presidents or world leaders and religious icons. They have this. And here's the problem. I know you do too. What I tell people all the time with this whole course is that sometimes common sense is not common practice, and that's why potentially extraordinary people never break through. In that, I know you're empathetic, but how often do you actually demonstrate it? Now, here's the thing. I'm not accusing you. I know you're like, well, almost a lot, Brendan, because you're already here. You're a high performer. You do it a lot. My quest, my challenge, go to the next level. Spend some time, take a few more beats with your family next time to understand them and feel their emotion, what their life and experience is really like. You're amazing at business already? I'm like, great. Get in your customer's head a little bit more, empathize and understand. What's it like for them? What do they feel like every step of engagement along the process that you have with them as a customer? You really want to succeed at that next level socially, including in your contributions, your philanthropy, your giving. Get with the people you want to serve and understand them. Interview them. Take the time. Be persistent in understanding the humans around you. It will bring your life back to life. A lot of people, the reason they're lacking a lot of life is because they're lacking connection with the humans around them. Empathy gives you that connection, that heart, that soul that we all want of life. And without empathy, there's no true understanding. There's no compassion, there's no kindness, and there's no real love. So put this as a practice in your life. Your overall identity becomes buoyed, becomes buoyant, and you feel extraordinary. Last part of their identity, and I wish I had a better word for this. I don't know how to describe it. It's that they see themselves and have owned the fact that they're a role model. This is huge. I was blessed to work with a person who's a parenting expert, and she shared with me that the shift in her complete life was her children had gotten a little older, And so I think, if I remember right, there were 9 and 11. And somehow the 11-year-old said something, and she finally, for the first time, even though she'd been a parent for 11 years, finally owned the fact that she was going to be the most important role model in these children's lives. And she didn't know why it took her that long. She was loving, she was caring, she was extraordinary, but something really clicked, and she was like, I need to change to inspire them. And that's my story too, and why I related so much with her story. When I was a 19-year-old kid after my car accident, leading up that car accident, I was bitter, I was hurt, I was broken, I was hurt, disappointed, I was suicidal because I came out of a relationship that broke my heart. And that's the guy I was. After my accident, I learned the questions I was going to ask at the end of my life. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? I realized I got a second chance. I wanted to earn that second chance. And I thought, well, how am I going to earn that? Well, I'm going to live a great life, and I'm going to give everything I got. I'm going to live, I'm going to love, I'm going to matter, and I want to help people have a transition without a car accident, like I had to have. Not everyone needs to be punched in the head with a door frame to finally change their life. And I thought, okay, well, I need to become a role model then. And I took it very seriously. And the most important people who I've met in my life, I don't just mean the people on magazine covers. I mean the most important people in their social context. They own the fact, they're like, you know what? People look up to me, so I better get my stuff together. People look up to me. My kids look up to me. My younger brother looks up to me. My neighborhood looks up to me. My culture looks up to me, so I better rise. Because we realize sometimes as we lift ourselves up, we know we're lifting other people up. As we lift other people up, we lift ourselves up. And so we have this opportunity to finally own that. I think the next level of high performance for a lot of people is to own their role as a role model. To finally say, you know what? My team is really looking to me to lead here. You know what? My kids, they're really looking to me to inspire right now. You know what? These people in my social context, they could use an infusion of some positivity right now because it's difficult times. When we step into that in our identity and we start to own that, we start to change our behaviors much more swiftly, because the consequence, as we talked about earlier, the consequence in our mind is, I've got a role to play for these people here. If I take care of myself, I inspire them. The consequence is I inspire them. The alternative is I don't. I'm just another member of the herd. Or I can stand out and lead and inspire and help. Whatever it is for you, the next level for you is to own the next level of role model for all the people around you. And I've raised ambition for people on this a lot in my life, and I tell you, it's a magic change in their psychology. It's truly a magical reset. It's like, look, if you're a sports star, your team is inspired by you. Are you owning that enough? If you are a high-level corporate person, are you owning the fact that your organization is looking at you? Are you truly owning the fact that your family counts on you every night? If you own that at a different level, you become a different level of person. And I hope that you will do that, because that's why I believe you can always become a high performer.